Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. Y'all, I've been gone for 2 weeks and I am back home and I'm excited. In this video, the first thing popping is we're gonna go to the greenhouse, into the hot tunnel and see what's going on, give you a tour of that. And then also we're gonna do a harvest of all the things that we hopefully are ready and that are still ready for us to harvest. I've been gone away for 2 weeks in the beautiful state of Florida, but I think I brought some Florida with me to Tennessee. So if you're new here, I live in Tennessee in Zone 7B, and on this channel we talk about all things homesteading, gardening, food preservation, DIY, cooking from scratch, sourdough, bread making, you name it, we talk about it. And so if that's your jam, definitely go ahead and subscribe. And yes, I am this hype all the time on every single video, because who wants to watch a boring video? And I absolutely am passionate about gardening and teaching you how to garden and to grow food for you and your family. So like I said, I've been away for 2 weeks helping my daughter move to Florida. It was a rough goodbye, but I am glad to be home, in the sense of there's no place like home. My routine, my setup, and all the things, and my mommy heart is going to get some balm from the garden today. So I'm so glad that you decided to stop by today. Let's go ahead and go in the tunnel, and the first thing we need to do is to water all of our stuff, because it's probably been over a week since it's been watered, and then it's been 2 weeks since we have been actually in the hot tunnel on property. And so I had stuff to harvest before I left that I did not have time to. Let's see if there is anything left to harvest. So let's go check it out. So the very first order of business was to water all of my plants. They had not been watered in about a week, but that's not abnormal. During this time of the year, we're normally watering once a week, especially when the temperatures has been low. So while I was gone, I know that the temperatures dropped, and there was like 48 hours of really, really cold, extreme temperatures. But then since then, it's been, I think, in the 60s, so pretty pleasant, I would say. So they're good with not being watered more than once a week. But it had been over a week since they've been watered, and so they were thirsty. They definitely needed some water. So I start doing this before I start doing all of the other harvesting things. As you can see, y'all, my greenhouse looks a hot mess. One, I haven't been here. Two, it's sparsely populated in terms of there's not stuff, you know, just overflowing in every bed, because again, this is kind of like the end of our fall and winter season. So for many of you who don't do fall and winter gardens, you're starting your your spring gardens now. So you're probably doing your cabbages, your broccolis, your cauliflowers, your spinach, you know, all of the spring type things. Well, those things we did in our fall and winter garden. So those things have been in place since like September. And so we've harvested all of our broccoli. We did not do a third succession of broccoli. We did 2 successions of broccoli, and we harvested the last of that in like January. So that's taken up a lot of the empty spaces that you see. We've also harvested our cauliflower, and then we also had some cabbages that we've harvested quite a bit of. We have a few cabbages left that we'll harvest today, but so the things that only produce one thing at a time, like cabbages and broccoli, we've harvested that stuff. So it's leaving open spaces because we did not go back and do a third succession. Normally I do a third succession of planting in January of all of those types of things so that I can get one more round. And then usually we're harvesting that last round around the end of April. But this year I did not do that, just because life is lifing, right? And I just didn't have the time and the bandwidth to do that third succession, but that's fine. We still, as you'll see in this video, we still have plenty of food to harvest, even though it's kind of sparsely populated. Guys, my stuff was real thirsty. So that took a minute to water everything. And so yes, we do have drip. In case you're new here, we do have drip irrigation, but in the wintertime we turn it off just because the temperatures are too cold. I'm thinking it's almost time to start it back up, but I think we'll leave it off for now, because I'm gonna do a big harvest today and some plants need to be pulled up. Y'all, my greenhouse, it looks a hot mess. I'm just gonna be honest. It does not look good in terms of, we got covers everywhere, weeds growing everywhere. Just, it looks unkept. And again, I like for it to look decent and in order, but that's okay. That is a part of the journey. So I think the first thing my husband and I are going to do, he's pulling up all of the wire hoops. We are in our minds saying goodbye to winter, and we're saying hello to spring. Hello to spring. It is March and we are here for it. I even went out to my fruit trees earlier and took the covers off of the fruit trees that's been on there for the most of the winter. And I even have some fruit trees that are budding, which is very, very exciting. But yeah, we're going to get the hoops up and then take all the covers, fold them up and put them away. And then we will, I'll show you around the tunnel and show you what's what. I do have some food to harvest. I got quite a bit, but I also have some stuff that has been eaten up. That's the way it goes. But this is kind of the season in March of what it looks like, because you're kind of ending one season and then starting into a new one. So this is not abnormal. This is pretty much normal fare. So let's get the covers put up and then we can kind of harvest without tripping up over stuff and see what all we have. Okay guys, putting the covers together took a little bit longer than I anticipated in my mind. We've probably done 10. It doesn't look like it, but we have. And we probably have, I would say, maybe 6 or 7 more. But we're going to go ahead and harvest food because I have got to harvest the food today. You know how your mind gets set on something and you got to get it done? Today is the day, especially these collards that I've been talking about for a month. So the first thing we're going to harvest is cabbage. Let me show you, while my husband's harvesting a couple of cabbages, let me show you kind of how things are looking out here, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks real good. Okay, so we got one. Yeah, just take off the outer leaves.
Right. All right.
And then let me show you guys. So here we have some kale, we have some parsley that can be harvested. Again, remember, most of these beds, well, not all the beds. The beds are not all the way full because, of course, we've harvested things like broccoli and stuff that doesn't, grow back. So we have some kale here, some parsley there, some spinach there that looks good, more kale back there. In this bed, you can see that my little bok choy has bolted, just probably because it got kind of warm in here. We got some more kale back there. So it's like spotty in each of the beds. Y'all see I got weeds just growing, but don't you worry, it's gonna get all cleaned up. This is some oregano. I don't remember planting this oregano here, and I'm not sure why I did, because oregano spreads and I really don't want this oregano in this bed taking over. So I think I'm gonna harvest that and then try to pull it up. This is some arugula. You can see that the arugula is trying to bolt. I'm gonna harvest all of that that's down below, and I can use that for breakfast as like a side veggie. That's a snapdragon that's coming back, and then that's some kale. So again, stuff is still growing. There is some thyme there. Look at that nice big beautiful spinach, one there, one there. So as you can see, it's spotty, but we still have plenty of food growing. So when I said it looks a mess, I mean, that's relative. The fruit trees, these are all the things that are going to be planted out this spring. And then here, we have tons of Brussels to harvest. We have more cabbages there. But then you can see here, we got some severe damage there. Look at that. Leaves just tore up. But you know what? The cabbage on the inside looks good. It is massive. Oh my goodness, y'all. That is massive. And then, of course, we have tons of collard greens. So we're about to get to it. So while my husband was harvesting the cabbage, I decided to go ahead and harvest the spinach. In situations like this where I have a lot to harvest, I always usually tend for me to start with something that's like an easy win. So something that's not too difficult to harvest, it's not going to stick me and all that good stuff. So spinach is pretty easy. So I started with that, and that's probably what I had the least of. And so this spinach, I'll show you at the end, looks absolutely
gorgeous, amazing, just so healthy. It looks so nutritious. And so it just, I don't know, being out in the greenhouse today just reminded me of why I do what I do. Y'all, it's such a privilege to grow your own food. It's such a privilege to grow your own food and to feed your family. On this particular day, y'all, it is hot in the hot tunnel. It is hot. I never went and looked at the temperature. It was 70, between 70 and 73 outside. So if I had to guess, it was probably a good 90 in the hot tunnel. And we worked pretty much all day in the hot tunnel, which we haven't done that since probably when we put the fall crops out. Just because, you know, the fall and winter season is just so laid back. I'll say this every time, that if you're not growing food in the fall and winter, you absolutely should, because it is like the rest for the gardener. You get the benefit of having food every single week, but you don't have to work nearly as hard for it. But that's a side note. This particular day, we were out here all day. And like I said, it just felt different, but good, a good different. Just because the weather was nice and we had plenty to do. But y'all, look at this amazing spinach that I'm about to show you.
Y'all, look at this spinach. It looks so green, so healthy. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely amazing. I got a whole basket full, and of course that will grow back. Again, spinach, and this variety is a new one that I tried from Johnny's. It's called GREENSTALK. It germinated within 3 days, which for me is very quick when it comes to spinach. I keep my spinach in the freezer because it performs better with cold stratification. That just simply means that it's cold first, and so then when you bring it out, it can break through dormancy quicker. And so there's certain vegetables and herbs that do better with cold stratification, and spinach is one of them. But it germinated in like 3 days, and it has performed so well. I love the fact that it's just like, sturdy is the best word I know. It looks so good, so vibrant. So I'm excited about that. I'm doing the spinach. My husband has been doing the cabbages. I'll let you know how many cabbages we end up getting. So I'm going to pull bok choy next, and then from there we'll go to the kale. But oh my goodness, absolutely. Why not grow your own food? This right here in the store, this is probably, if I had to guess, in those bags that you get in the produce, this is probably the equivalent of at least 4 bags, and those bags are probably $4 a piece. So let's just say it's $15 worth of spinach. I grew this from, I don't know, a few seeds. This is from, I think, 1, 2, 3, 5 plants. And again, had I been harvesting, I probably would have even had more, but I just harvested and kind of took everything down to the bare minimum, and I guarantee you in 2 weeks I'll have more spinach again. That is just the way it goes.
So next up after harvest the spinach was to harvest the kale. So again, I'm keeping with my theme of easy to the most complicated. So again, kale is pretty easy to harvest. And so I have 2 different kinds of kale that I'm doing here that I planted this season. And that is winter boar and red boar from Johnny C. This is my 3rd year doing it, and it's absolutely wonderful. It will always be my kale of choice. It just grows so well. This is like a curly leaf lettuce. You can obviously buy like a I think it's called Scotch baby curly kale or something like that from High Mowing, which is very similar. But any type of curly kale, you can also get it from the Dollar Tree. They have those curly kale seeds. But I prefer this brand or this variety. Like I said, it just grows really, really well for me. I like the red boar because it gives some color in the garden, but they absolutely taste the same. And so I have quite a few kale plants, and these kale plants have fed us all fall and winter. Y'all, I've had plenty kale salads, plenty. I've had plenty with breakfast and omelets and stuff. I've had plenty with smoothies. I've had plenty cooked with greens. Like, we've had a ton of kale. And so it's definitely one of my staple crops for the winter. It's one of the things, like, it's hard to kill kale. Like, it's so good and hardy. I think it's like hardy to like 5 degrees if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you can't hardly kill it. So it's always in my garden. So typically, when you're looking at my fall and winter garden, like, all of this stuff has been in the ground since around September. And so now it's March. So we're going on 6 months. It will be, in the ground for another, I would say, 6 to 7 weeks. And so by the end of April, all of this will be gone. We will pull it up. Now, typically my collard greens are going to go to seed typically around April. As the temperatures continue to rise and ramp up, they will typically start to bolt and go to seed. So my goal is to get one round harvested and then let it grow back and get that final round, and then that would be enough. And I would have, you know, enough collard greens to last me until I can grow them again next season, which is always a plus. Same thing with kale. You know, we'll freeze a lot of the kale that we don't use fresh, and we'll have kale all throughout the year for whatever we need. Obviously, we can't make a fresh kale salad, but we can use it for tons of other stuff. And so that's my philosophy. If you're new here, I try to grow enough of one crop that will last me for the whole year in some type of way. So that way I have that crop on hand, whether it's frozen, dehydrated, freeze dried, until I can grow that crop again.
Okay, y'all, huge basket of kale. It is overflowing. I cannot stuff anything else in there. Y'all, fresh, beautiful kale, the first week of March. Y'all, there's nothing like it. I don't even know how many bags this would represent and how much it would cost. But when you talk about nutrient dense, healthy food, you know where it came from. It just makes sense. And kale is one of those things, especially if you don't do a big fall and winter garden. Kale is so cold hardy. It can literally go down to like 5 to 10 degrees. Like, it's hard for you to kill kale. Like, it has to be, I don't know how cold it would have to get, because it's been single digits, like 5 degrees, and it's been just fine. And of course, I had my stuff covered when the temperature was that low this winter, but I have some in a GREENSTALK outside my house that I have paid no attention to since the time I planted it, and that kale is still there. Now, it didn't grow big, but the what had grown already before the frost is still there. And it was outside in the elements, not covered. That's how I know it can withstand. So definitely add kale to your list for the fall and winter if you want a easy crop that can withstand like really, really harsh low temperatures. Kale is a great one. And again, it's a nutrient dense food. You can use it in smoothies. You can cook it. You can make kale salad. You can make kale chips. You can freeze it and have it for soups. So there's so many different things and versatility that you can do with kale. For the past 3 years, I've grown winter boar and red boar. So the red, you can see that peeking through there. It's like a burgundy color. I just do that really for the color. It tastes the exact same. It doesn't taste any different. But this is a nice, curly, hardy lettuce that grows really, really well for me. And I get that from Johnny's as well.
So next up are the Brussels sprouts. So we've already done, I think, 2 harvests of Brussels sprouts so far this season. So this will be pretty much representing our final harvest of Brussels sprouts. If you've never done Brussels sprouts before and you have the space, I highly recommend it. They taste so great fresh from the garden. But if you don't have space, it's probably not a crop that I would allocate space to, just because they take a long time to grow. So these were started in August from seed, and they were planted probably in September. And so it's like the 1st of March, and we're harvesting the final ones. But they take like 120 days, so literally 4 months. And really that 4 months is extended because as the season gets colder and colder and colder, they're going to grow slower. And so they're going to take up the whole winter season. So that's another thing. If you're trying to do Brussels sprouts for the spring, again, depending on your zone and your temperature, you may or may not be able to do that because they need 120 days to grow at a minimum, and they love cool weather. And so if you're going to hit high temperatures in your early summer, then they're not going to make it or be able to form in enough time. So that's just something to keep in mind. They are a great asset to have in your garden, but you need to have the space and the time and the patience.
Okay, guys, I just did the Brussels sprouts. Look how many this is my biggest Brussels sprout harvest to date, I'm pretty sure. And they are a nice size. Look at that. These are some nice, healthy looking Brussels sprouts. Y'all, they look so good. Y'all, we even though I told you it looks bad out here, we've harvested a lot of food. I think my husband harvested probably 5 or 6 cabbages. You saw the kale, you saw the spinach. Now look at the Brussels sprouts. My husband is harvesting collard greens. We're one basket in. It is overflowing to the top, and we've only done 4 collard green plants. So in my mind, all the collard greens are going to be harvested today. But in reality, that is not going to be the... He let me know real quick, that's not going to be the case today, sis. I just wanted to be done, y'all. But he was like, you will be washing collard greens for a week if we harvest them all today. Oh, he just brought more Brussels sprouts. Overflowing, y'all. Overflowing. So I'm going to jump in and do a few more collard greens. His basket is full, but I think we can put some more in there. Let's go see.
So I go over to the plants that my husband has harvested, and I just really just try to get down to the, the bare minimum of the plant. So at least it'll look like, okay, we at least got these 4 plants, and not that we got 4, but there's still stuff on there. I don't know. I just needed to look like I did something with the collard greens. And so you can see he has that yellow basket there that is, it's pretty much overflowing, but I'm going to try to stuff some more in there because I need to feel like I did some collard greens. And you will see that we end up getting quite a bit of collard greens, and it was just from a few plants. Okay, show them the basket, honey. So lift it up so I can see how deep it is. That's 5 plants. I probably got 3 times more plants that still haven't been harvested. So we're gonna call it right here. We're gonna call it right here. So we're gonna take this up to the front. Let me show you the cabbages that we harvested, and we've got quite a bit done. It's been a while since I worked in the garden this many hours like that. We have been down here, I would say at least 3 or 4 hours today, just getting as much done as we could. So we got, I would say, about half of the covers done. We got all of the hoops up. We harvested all the food that you just saw. So it's been a productive day. And the weather, I was asking my husband, I was like, are you ready? Are you ready for the summer press? He's like, I'm getting there. He's like, what about you? I was like, I'm getting there. But the weather kind of dictates that says, hey, it's time. It's time. So if you know, and if you're a gardener, you know that the spring season can be just as busy as the summer season in terms of trying to get everything prepared, get your beds ready, your ground ready, especially if you've had a fall and winter garden like me. You're trying to clear that stuff out, harvest it, and then amend all your beds. So y'all, it's about to be a wild ride from here on out for sure. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, definitely go ahead and subscribe so that you can see the journey. I have, when I say a list, I have a long to-do list, and corresponding with that long to-do list is a long video list of all the things that I want to show you guys. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Remember, y'all, this is all a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you, friend.